Ancient Wisdom of Cymru. This is the Oracle deck with all your elementals and the gods and goddesses of Wales. It's a really handy size. Hold me in the hand. Size pack, good for your altar, good for your bag, good for carrying around in your pocket. So, as usual, I do a Power of 3 reading every month. So, the cards that we have this month, the first card that come out, Merlin. The second card that came out was Guya. And the last of the Power of 3 that come out, Aranrod, also known as Arianrod. Okay, so we're just going to step into having a little reading about what each of those cards are kind of indicating to do, what resonates with you, follow, what doesn't. But these are oracle cards, they're wisdom cards, they're guidance. And take it as such for the whole month of July. Now, whenever Merlin comes up, remember this is the wild man of the wood. And you can see that Luke Hugh Llewellyn, the artist, has basically drawn the essence of each of these characters or each of these elementals. So you see here Merlin, and he's surrounded by magic, but he's always with the woods. And there's some particular stories about Merlin. The first story you hear about Merlin, with Merlin Emrys, is the one where he is advising King Vortigern about the red dragon in the hill of Dinas Emrys. So that's one of the most powerful. Of course, he is known in some of the Arthurian tales. Some of those tales are fantasy tales. And some of them, there has been Arthur exists. There is evidence that Arthur exists, maybe not in the way that Hollywood and fantasy depicts him, that Merlin's been around for that. So when we're looking at Merlin, we're looking at, he is the god of druids. He is the god of magic. He is the god of sorcery. So he is interwoven in all of those things. And he comes to us in this, and I love the wisdom that he brings, is wisdom is not knowing all things, but knowing when to wait, when to act, and when to simply be. So think and ponder on that statement with the Merlin card, the first card that comes out in the Power of 3. It tells us if we're feeling lost, we're really not lost. We are becoming, we are being, we are coming into ourselves. There is clarity to be found. And our second card, which is Guya. Now, Guya is a sacred flow of life and bloodline. And Guya for the Welsh is flow, blood flow. Okay, and if you think about what is associated with blood flow, so what's associated is your ancestors, your blood, your bloodline. Your blood flow is your bloodline. So your connections ancestrally is one aspect of it. It is your life, a flow, a life force, where we have Nuvre, which is life force. This is the flow of that force, okay? The movement. There's emotion in that movement and the flow. But Guya, this card, speaks to us of rivers, who are our ancestors. It speaks to us of that flow. Rivers flow to the depths of the sea. Okay, it's the pulse of our land, just like our blood flows throughout our body. So flow is the word of the second card of the Power of 3 for the month of July. And when you get this card, it's looking for your ancestry in motion. What do we mean really by that? Well, what stories do you carry in your bloodline? What are the dreams? What are the genetics? Are they positive? Are they confusing? Are you opposing them? Genetics is like an ancestral river of the land. It flows through different landscapes, but it always flows to the sea or to the ocean. And it always joins up. Okay, so have a little think about that. Have a look at your life and say, is my life flowing? Is it fast? Is it moving too fast? Is it moving a bit slow? Is it a bit stagnant? And the point is don't resist whatever that is. You need to go with it. You need to work through some of the challenges. You need to bring wisdom if there is speed and you can't cope with it. So find your own rhythm within the flow. And I love this because this is also a fantastic, the coracle where Luke has defined here the coracle. Is an ancient way of going out onto the rivers and fishing. It's a lifeline, okay? It depicts, metaphorically depicts, what's so fabulous about this particular drawing. It depicts the salmon coming upstream. It comes upstream to spawn. Salmon fight their way upstream in order to rebirth. So again, think about that. Salmon is the wisdom. It's the oldest animal we have in our ancient mythology, the salmon. So there's wisdom in that. Okay. It tells us to move forward, to keep moving forward. Even if we feel fearful, keep moving forward. So in Guya, when this card comes up, we are going to think about how full in our lives do we feel? What our relationships are flowing like? Are we moving wisely? Do we recognize that our ancestors are flowing with us through our life? Do we call upon them? Do we acknowledge that they're around? And do we acknowledge that our emotions are our messengers and not our masters of fate or destiny? So this is about trust in the current and know your way. And our third card, Aranrod. So this lady pops up. You always think about boundaries, okay? There's a big story around her. And we've just finished the June tour where we actually went to the beach where her Caer, her fort, the Arianrhod fort, is meant to be out at sea. And you can only see this fort when the mists arrive and when the waves arrive, where their spray is looking like white horses riding. This lady has much celestial connotations, but that's just one of her aspects. We do call her the goddess of the moon. So boundaries is the key to the Power of 3 card now in this July stack. Trust your inner discernment. Discernment being a really big word. Now Arianrhod did have some trials and tribulations to come through. And she had some betrayal to overcome. So there were wounds around that, personal wounds, and you may relate to some of that now if this card is resonating with you. But I love her kind of tagline comment that says, where the mists rise. So where there is kind of a lack of clarity, where you feel a bit foggy, where the mists rise, so does your strength. You can work through and find the best place for you. She learns to work in the cycle of time, and we all need to do that. And she also denotes that you can be in liminal time. And sometimes we try and rush out of liminal time, but there is always liminal time. It can be very definite, and it can be a very gentle place. And she reminds us, eclipses, solstices, celestial alignments. We've just passed a full moon, the end of June. It's still very prominent and strong in the sky. These are all markers that Aranod is around and showing you that time of movement. And sometimes we just have to slip into our own castles in the mist and reclaim our magic and emerge to be stronger and whole. This card also reminds us to say no and how to protect our own sovereignty. So summing up that July Power of 3 cards is Merlin, the trees, sorcery, magic, druidic wisdom. Just think of July now, of being out with the trees, and what magic do you need to bring in, or what magic are you conjuring in this month? You have Guya. Recognize your bloodline and the flow that you're in. Have a look at your relationships. Are they getting sticky? Where does it need to be unblocked, maybe? These are only suggestions, but these are what the cards tell us. And of course, we round that off with Aranod, and I would say the biggest message was, check your boundaries. Are those boundaries effective? Are you holding your own sovereignty? Because the boundaries help you do that. And yes, they can be uncomfortable. Yes, they can be very awkward. I know. It happens to me. It happens to everybody. But this card reminds you of that. And so take the time and look up at the sky tonight. Wherever you're listening to this, just look up at the sky and ask yourself, where do I need to retreat, and where do I need to go into action? Am I ready? And have a wonderful July.